Morning, boys and girls. It's Miss Sylvester, and I'm extremely delighted to take you through this online session on the lesson The Return. But before we start, I'd like to give you a few instructions that you should strictly follow. As you know, the success of any online session relies on the accountability of the learner. So make sure you're quite serious with your lessons and complete your tasks or assignments on time throughout the entire process of online sessions. Secondly, you should note before you start the lesson, you have all the required resources handy, like your writing materials, your copybook, and your textbook. Another notable point is that make sure that you do all the assigned tasks or assignments which you are asked to do either throughout the whole session, in the midst of the session, or towards the end. When you're asked to pause the video, kindly pause it, do the task so that your productive skills are equally developed along with the receptive skills. So ensure that you do all the tasks on time. Now we will start with the lesson, The Return. This lesson is from Unit 5, Journeys for Transformation. Now, as you proceed, you can see the objectives that we need to develop through this lesson. Boys and girls, before we start with the first read of the short story The Return, I would like to give you an insight about the author, Ngugi Wa Thiong, who has written the short story The Return. He was born in Kenya in 1938, and as a young boy he lived through the Momo Rebellion. Among his popular works, one of the major successes was his first play, The Black Hermit. Ngugi has received numerous honors and has taught at a number of major universities. You should also note these words: sprawling, serpentine, compact. Students, I'd like to ask you to take your copybook, write today's date, the name of the lesson, The Return, and copy these concept vocabulary in your book and find the meaning of these words using a dictionary, and later write a meaningful sentence in your notebook. You may pause the video for the time being, complete the assigned task in your notebook, and later you can resume the video once you are done. Have you noticed the picture on the slide for The Return? Does it bring any spark or remind you anything from your life experiences in connection to the situation and setting shown in the picture? Is it easier to leave loved ones behind or to stay home while a loved one is away? Think of a time when you went away for a while, or a time when a loved one went away for a while. The story, The Return, is told in a linear third-person narrative. The plot is simple, however, it refers to some past events. Students, you will also notice that the selection contains mostly literal and familiar language, with some figurative language, and complex sentence structures appear throughout the selection. I would now strongly recommend you to listen to the audio summary which are available online in Pearson Realize. Log into your Pearson account to listen to the summary. Ensure that you all listen to the audio summary because this will help you to build additional background knowledge and set a context for the first grade. I repeat, now you may pause the video to log into your Pearson Realize account and do the assigned audio summary. Listen to the assigned audio summary. While you are listening to the assigned audio summary, you may keep the copybook to brainstorm. Students, I hope you have done the assigned audio summary on Pearson account. Now you may take your copybook and you can do some brainstorming work based on your first read. Like know what you notice, how you annotate and how you can connect and how you can respond to it. So notice what I mean is whom the story is about, what happens, where and when it happens, and why those involved react as they do. You can also annotate, try to annotate. Maybe it might be difficult for you, but still you can start working on it by marking vocabulary and key passages you want to revisit. Also try to connect within the selection to what you already know and what you have already read. Try to respond by completing the comprehension check and writing a brief summary of the selection. Make sure that you pause the video right now to get back to the copybook to do the copybook work. And once you are done with this, then you may resume the video again. In this short story, written by the popular author Negugi, the major character is Kamoi, and we see that he returns home upon his release from a government prison camp. He walks warily down roads that lead to his house outside of Nairobi. He was waiting for a familiar sign, but finding none. Women who recognize him behave in a way that shows there is something he doesn't know. He hurries home, eager to see his wife, whom he had been married to for only a short while before his arrest. But he does not receive the reception he expects. Now students, let me grab your attention to the essential question. What can we learn from a journey? And your writing assignment yesterday was based on this. The story, The Return, provides an interesting perspective on the essential question. Through this journey back to his hometown, Kamoi has to reconcile his expectations with the reality of life in the village he has been absent from for years. This teaches him to accept change. He expects his life to be just as he left it, but he has to realize how his actions have affected others and brought about change he wasn't expecting. Students, to ensure that we have fully achieved our objectives, I would like you to do the following assignment. You're supposed to make a multimedia presentation and you can send it across to your teachers through Horizon Communicate. Please Please understand that communicating and collaborating in groups is an important skill. And this skill you need to have throughout your lives, in school, in your careers, and in your community. Students, please also note that after submitting your work to the group, you can also see the work of others and you can give them comments or feedbacks or suggestions. You can even ask more questions. But understand that you have to communicate politely with your group members. You might ask clarifying questions which may sound like, can you please repeat what you said, or would you give me an example? Is this what you said? Do you think I have understood it correctly? Or you can even ask questions like, can you explain more details on what you feel about this? So make sure that you are communicating politely, ensure that your work task is submitted on time, and you give valuable suggestions and feedback to the work of your fellow classmates. Thank you. It was wonderful being with you today. Hope to have a pleasant day ahead. Thank you.